Hi, everyone. Welcome to SF Doc Fest 2023. I'm Gigi Haycock, one of the programmers, and I have a wonderful opportunity of speaking with the director of our, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Let's stop this. Hold on.
Yeah, let's start again. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna do.
Hi, welcome to SF Doc Fest 2023. I'm Gigi Haycock, one of the programmers at the festival, and I have the honor of having the director of Shambala here with us today doing an interview, Andrea De Fusco, and he's coming from Venice, Italy. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for choosing Shambala. It's a pleasure to show it at the festival.
It sounds better when you say it, Shambala. I'm going to do that.
So, in French.
Well, it's an amazing film, and we were talking just a little bit earlier about how personal, of a film it is, and that the idea of Shambala is it's a legendary land only accessible by the purest of souls. And through this film, your journey, how do you feel as if was that you? Is that what Marcos is in this film? Did you get there, or kind of how did this come about?
Yeah, so basically, Shambhala is an essay film, so it's very much inspired by the French wave of film essay documentaire, especially Chris Marker, I would say. And basically, the film was born thanks to the disillusions of my trips, my trips in the Himalayas that I did as a youngster. Maybe it was some kind of truth of youth travel. Then I did so it's basically I went there first time in Ladakh and Kashmir. And that trip really was a trampoline for my imagination and for my passion for that land. And the second time a few years later, and meanwhile I was just studying about those places. So the Himalayas in general, their people, their different culture, all the religion that meet there, that melt to become other things. Also the Tibetan Buddhism, which is also. So I was very fascinated to all of this. And in my second trip, I've left with my camera, with a lot of naivete, saying, okay, I'm gonna go for a month there and I'm gonna find a great subject for a film. So that was my idea. And actually, after a few months, I didn't found nothing that was making me dream that was making me we couldn't find what I was imagining, basically.
Right.
My expectative, my imagination about the travel was that was mostly also founded on literature, on travel literature of the past century, and basically was a word that doesn't exist anymore. So I was projecting, hoping to find almost something that to discover some a new land, something I saw as that place as a place that could have a mystery, still a mystery. So basically I shot a lot of images, and when I came back I was deeply disappointed. I suffered from altitude sickness. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't properly dressed. I wasn't. So basically, it was a disaster. And when I came back, I basically abandoned basically when I came back, the first thing I went in a supermarket with my father and remember that day, and I saw all that pasta, all those comfort, all those things that I was trying to say I don't need it. Yeah, I'm a Western person, but I'm gonna go to. And actually, I found myself in a supermarket, and I was like, okay, well, I should make peace with myself, with my country, and accept that I'm a Western person. And but basically, I left my footage for more than a year until I start to watch it again, and I told myself, basically, what would I see if those images, if I didn't have the memory of creating them? So from that question all started. So I basically invented the two fictional character. Both are in some way me, but none of them is in its proper me in the sense that one is a character that has disappeared during the trip in the Himalayas and was doing the images, and the other one was the one receiving those images and doing the edit for the film. And so basically, yeah, the idea is that I think that an image, when one see a photography or an image, that it isn't related with him in the sense of when one is not the creator of an image, that image can really make a trampoline for his imagination. He can imagine all everything that is out of frame, and all world can start from that image. Tarkovsky was saying that an image can be a drop in which an old world is reflected. So that idea of the power of the image, it's totally lost, I think, when it's an image that you make or you made, because it's that image become a point in the cartography of your story, of your geography, so it's a memory. It's cannot it's something stuck in reality, in the reality of your imagination. So that's also the film goes through this kind of questioning, also the act of filming. And the two poles are, one is the Himalaya, basically seen as a place where I was, the character was expecting to see something maybe not seen before. And the other one is Venice, the city I live, that it's basically becoming a postal card. It's a city that it's literally sinking through the wave of through the useless images that we do and people do every day.
Right. So, taking photos in front of a bridge that is not the bridge of sighs, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not the bridge of love. Yeah. It was the bridge of prisoners. Yeah.
And tell us, so you chose Venice, and we were talking about that the narration is in French, and I thought that was a very interesting thing that you were telling me before we started.
Yes, basically the film started during the first lockdown also, because no, even before, but I was editing during the first lockdown when I was living in Paris. The co-producer, Christophe Goujon, it's French. And and at the beginning it was, all the dossier had been made in France. And before that there was Paris instead of Venice. Then I came back living here and I told myself that as the place that was not the traveling place and the place that was supposed to be home, and it's actually home for me, it's where I am right now, Venice was much better, Paul, because it's really symbolically, okay, also Paris is a very touristic city, but Venice is really became the classical trip, the classical place of the consumerism of the image, basically. So, but the film stayed in French because actually, first of all, I think that the genre of the film is it's French. For me, it's an essay documentaire. It's it's that kind of wave that I'm following. That's the reference for me. And second, because I needed a distance between me and those characters. That's I'm totally fluent in French. It's really my second language, so I'm kind of confident with it. And I was feeling that the Italian was too close to me, and I needed some distance through language to have this alter ego idea that has structured all the film.
Yeah, so I'm seeing my notes here. You were talking about, is there anything left to discover? And is that kind of one of the questions that you're really asking in this, that we've all, when we capture it on film and things, is there anything left once we've seen it?
I certainly wasn't brave enough to find it.
Yeah, we can all try.
I did my best, but also for me, like I'm very much a sea person. So going to the Himalaya was really going to what's the farthest from what I am, actually. And maybe there was a point where, I mean, I was walking to the Annapurna circuit, which is also a very touristical thing to do, actually. Now I discovered that there are people dying while waiting to get on the top of the Everest, and there is a line there, like a human traffic, and people wait too much to be on the top of the world for those few seconds, and maybe they die for this reason. So also the Annapurna circuit, I mean, I did it, but I wasn't prepared very much. So I did it in the wrong side, the Nepali side. So basically you sleep at 4,200 and in the morning after you have to reach 5,400. Well, you must be Nepali or very prepared to do that. So I was not. So basically, I really suffered in that moment. And then I was just crossing people that were coming down. And for example, that day, I remember when the night was falling, and I found on the road a holy man, I suppose, a sadhu, because it was with his trident. I mean, it was a Shiva disciple. Almost naked. Okay, it was full snow, -5, and we watched. I did some kind of respect, and then I thought to myself, okay, wow, maybe this is really the person you did all this for. And then I was like, okay, it's becoming dark. Am I brave enough to, or am I ready to disturb him and to be here? No, I'm not. Am I brave enough to stay here? No, no, I'm not. So I realized there was no possibility of communication with that person, and I just go on to reach a safe place to sleep. And that's
So
where I say, okay.
You didn't reach
there was no
enlightenment.
possibility of to exchange for me. That one can be braver and maybe can find something much more than at the end. I went as science fiction does sometimes. I went as far as possible just to go very deep inside of me. So it's very personal film at the end, as you said.
Yeah, and you use the words in it's very much like a journal, you know, especially at the end when you say, I'll leave it in these words, and then which are, you know, Marco's words in but you know, talking and it's talking about the journey, I think. I mean,
yes, the final moment is basically as somehow a letter from the me that has done the trip to the one that
didn't
before
have the courage.
trip,
Yeah.
saying basically you could so that Shambala as a promise, as a symbol of that land, that mysterious land. But in general, your idea of trip, it's more in your mind and in the imagination that has been created by what you've read, but what you've seen, by what you've studied. It's more in there that in the reality. So just leave it through other images of other people, leave it through books of other people. Just somehow that trip, it's a mental trip. You can find it anywhere. So
That's like I said, you can tell your story because this is a deeply personal one. And you started with you started with Wild West pictures in the United States of Native American. What was that? Why was that the beginning of your film? And then you revisit it toward the end.
because so basically I was very much fascinated by the image of Curtis when I was a kid, and I think they're really evoking a word. And actually through the years I discovered that some of them were kind of staged. And so there is also a discussion, something that goes through my whole film, which is a documentary, but it's partly a fiction. It's actually a fiction made by footage that is totally documentary. But so the idea of sometime by through the contrafaction, through some kind of lies, you can play with you can give an idea of the reality more accurate than just staying real somehow. So the idea that idea of contrafaction, that it's also something, I don't know, a film that is a big reference for me in that sense. So it's for Fake or somewhere else. And I mean, So yeah, that's why it's there, because I think that those images are strongly evocative, and even if they are staged in a sense, or partly staged.
Hmm. There's a reality still there about those images. Yeah.
Well, our
That's
imaginary as strong of Native American is strongly being formed by those images.
yes. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Is there anything else I may not have covered that you'd like to say a little bit about this film? I mean, it's a remarkably poetic journey, I felt, and it's personal.
Yeah, no, it's very personal. Certainly, at the end, I go through some. There is an ethnographical side of the film, in the sense that yes, I'm going to different population and with an interest through it, and in a sense, I think, and also another narrative line. It's about yeah, this idea also of the mites that then we create. So also that this power of the not only imagination but also imaginary, how do you say, yeah, that it's sometimes very stronger than what reality can be. For example, I really care about this anecdote that is a Buddhist anecdote that is in the film, about this merchant that bring to his mother a fake Buddha's disciple of Buddha's thief, and she venerated so much because she believed it. Then this thief actually start to give lights, because it's a miracle. But the miracle is just through the faith of believing in things, and so the thing that imaginary can be more powerful than real. And
yeah.
actually, all my film it somehow becomes a documentary about the idea of trip that I expected, and more than being the documentary of my disillusion, which could have been another kind of film, but more transparent, more honest, more direct, maybe. But I decided to basically to take this this more complicated form to give a sense of the mystery I was looking for and I didn't found.
Yeah. Wow. It's really incredible. And I appreciate you sharing it with, well, the first US audience, I believe.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. So we appreciate it. And thank you so much, Andrea,
Thanks to you.
for everything. And it really was an amazing film, and I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.